Hey friends, Kevin here, and today we're going to talk about the first things you're going to have to do when you decide to go with a minivan camper and you get that minivan. The first things you're going to have to do, or at least the first decisions that you're going to have to make doing your minivan camper build out. So let's get to it. Now, some of you have been through the first part of these steps. Some of you don't have your first van yet, and you're kind of watching these things, gathering information. Maybe you're part of the way into the build. Maybe you have a simple build like I talk about, and you've been on the road, and now you're ready to add some more things to it. But let's go over kind of a checklist of the very basics of things you're going to have to decide. Now, we're not going to be talking about necessarily the mechanical stuff, although I've covered that in some other videos, but actually what you're going to have to do in your living, sleeping area. Number one, keep it simple. You've heard me say this if you've watched other videos over and over and over again. You can get as complicated as you want to, and a lot of this is going to depend on your own skill level of being able to do woodworking or having some knowledge of electronics and how solar systems and all this stuff go together. Now, you can learn all of these things, skills you may not have along the way, but in the beginning, you want to concentrate on keeping things simple. And you want to do that for a couple of reasons. One, simple means you have something that you can use right now that you can at least start doing overnight trips or weekend trips with and start to get your feet wet and really figure out what you need and what you don't need and what type of build exactly is going to work for you that you can afford, that you can do, that's going to make you comfortable and have enjoyment. And the other reason for doing this is the more complicated you make this stuff, the more you're going to have to troubleshoot when you do get out on the road, because reality is different things break, different things tear up. So in the beginning, you want to keep things as simple as possible, make one change, add one thing at a time, make sure it's going to work for you, and go on to the next thing. And in the meantime, you can be enjoying your van, because if you sit down and you get this van and you've never used it, you've never done this stuff before, and I see a lot of people do this, they jump into this stuff and they're trying to do this overly elaborate van build in their driveway when they've never spent a night in the minivan doing this. And they're trying to make everything as fancy as they can and put all these systems in. That's going to be nightmares when they get out on the road. And the way they build it and think it's going to work in their driveway is going to be different after about a month of being on the road. So again, start small, keep it simple. Number two, you're going to have to make a decision, and this is one of the first decisions you're going to have to make, because one of the first things most people put in to their minivan camper build is the bed. So you're going to have to make decisions on the build height. Now, I built a bed myself. There are some nice bed frames that you can buy now that are really heavy duty. I did a video on this one not too long ago. If I had to do over and hadn't already built my frame, I would definitely go this route because it's good and simple and easy. But if you're doing this yourself and you're building your own bed frame how you want it, you're going to have to decide on the bed height. And I cover this in detail in this video, but basically this is your trade-off between how much space you have under the bed and how much space you have between the bed and the ceiling of your van, and what's going to make you comfortable so you're not claustrophobic with your face 8 inches from the top of your van. So again, I'm going to link these videos that I'm showing down in the description and down in the comments, so if there's any of them you've missed, you can go over and watch those after we get through this one. But let's go on to the next step. The next step is going to be coolers, something to keep your food cold, whether you're going to use ice or whether you're going to use a 12-volt plug-in refrigerator, which is going to start at about $300 and go up in price from there. If you're getting serious about this, you're going to have extra batteries and extra solar of some type, or large battery packs. One way I put was in this video here. But my recommendation is this. If you are someone who is just starting out, start out with a little simple cooler and some ice and see how that works for you. If you're going to be, your situation changes where you're going to be in this thing and you're going to be on the road all the time, then going with a solar system and a 12-volt refrigerator, it's almost a no-brainer, because in about a year's time, it's going to pay for itself compared to what you're going to spend on ice. But that's only if you're basically doing van life full time and you're out every single day. If you're just taking some weekend trips and a week here through the year, that kind of thing, then it's going to take many, many, many years for what you paid for this system to pay for itself. In which case, you're better off just using a cooler and ice. Your next decision is going to be how you're going to cook, because unless you plan on going to a state park and spending $20 or more every night, you're not always going to have some type of campfire, cooking pit. So you're going to have to figure out how to do some cooking inside and right outside of the van with your own stuff. Now, the general thing that people use is going to be a 1 or 2 burner stove. I prefer a 2-burner Coleman. Doesn't take up much space. Lets me do 2 things at a time, such as do breakfast in the morning and making coffee. Again, this is a personal decision. One of the questions that comes up, and I covered it in this video, is should I do propane or should I do butane? So again, this video will explain the differences and why I prefer one over the other. The next decision you're going to be making is involving toilets. Now you're probably thinking, hey, I'm on the road, I can always stop at a store. I can always, I'm going to be starting out. I'm going to be getting my feet wet, especially you ladies. I'm going to be in a state park or something every night. And I'm always going to have those facilities nearby. Let me tell you in reality what's going to happen. At some point, you're going to end up in a situation late at night when the weather turns on you. And you're going to be a long way from those restrooms or from that bathhouse, and you're going to be in the middle of a torrential driving rainstorm that you don't want to get out of your van. The other situation that's going to happen if you're on the road long enough, you're going to end up in the middle of the night, sometime waking up, and you're going to be sick. And you're going to need something close to you, even if you're in those situations where you're in state parks and things all the time. But as you get more and more into learning about this, you'll probably be camping in some different places where, again, you're not going to have an option of just jumping out wherever you are and going to a bathroom somewhere. So you're going to need to solve this problem yourself. Some people use a bucket and with a pool noodle over it. I'm not crazy about that system. You can have basically a version of a flush toilet that was covered in this video. You can have a little fold-up toilet that doesn't take up much space in this video. So there's different ways to do it, but you need to think about having something with you, if only for those emergency situations. And again, all of these videos I'm showing you are going to be linked down in the description. So if you've missed them, you can watch them. You can learn from them, and it will help you decide which route that you want to go with your own minivan camper build out. As far as clothing, I like to keep it simple. You can have too much clothing with you. So I did this video on exactly what I carry and why, and what gets me by, and why I'm not having to spend half of my time on the road doing laundry. Now, at the time I'm doing this, it is winter time. I just came from a situation of being out in the van, in the snow. So that situation is a little bit different. With winter clothes, they're going to take up a little more space. But again, you don't want to overdo what you have with you. So this video is going to have tips on that. The next thing you're going to have to decide is what you're going to use for window coverings, basically inside your van. Because unless you've bought a cargo van that has no windows, if you're doing a minivan, you're generally going to have lots and lots of windows. And you don't want somebody coming in and trying to peep in. These things don't happen much, but they do happen. And even if you're in a situation where you're in a state park, people don't always respect camp spaces, and they decide to take a shortcut and walk right past your van and glance in the window. So you want to have something to do this. And the easiest thing is this stuff called reflectings. It's about $25 a roll. I'm going to do a video on this soon. Exactly how to do this. It's exactly what I use in the minivan that I have. It's very simple. You can make a set of coverings for your window probably in 30 minutes time with this stuff. So that will be coming soon. The other thing you want to think about is night lights. You're going to need a light, something inside your van, and you can string up little sets of plug-in LED lights. You can use something like this, which has done me well for the last couple of years. And I know when I did this video that a lot of you guys and gals bought this product and came back and put some things in the comments, so it seems like you're pleased with it if you did pick one of these up. But the other thing that you want is something for the outside of your van, because you're not always going to have a full moon, and it is going to be dark out. And there are situations that you're going to want to get out of your van at night when you wake up for whatever reason, or maybe you've heard some scary sounds you need to check out. So the easiest thing to do is a set of solar lights like this. I'll link that down below also. You throw them up on the dashboard or something during the day. They recharge in the sun. They're motion activated at night. You use a few strips of Velcro on the outside of the van, on the glass, on your side glass. So I have one on the front, one on each side, one in the back. So if I decide to get up in the middle of the night, as soon as I start to open one of the side doors, the motion triggers the light comes on, and I can see what's there. With having these on all four sides of the van, if anybody walks up towards my van, the motion is going to trigger the light's going to come on, and I know someone or something. Now hopefully that something will be something nice like a deer or an elk, in which case you'll be happy that it's lit up and you get to see it. But these are the basic things and decisions that you're going to have to make doing your own minivan camper. So I know some of you have been subscribers for a while. You've seen a lot of these videos, but I think this is still a good checklist for everybody. If you're new here and not seeing a lot of these videos, again, they're linked down in the description, so you can sit there and watch these and hopefully learn from these, because that's the reason I put these things out. And a lot of these videos have been done this year. We're getting ready to roll into a new year with new dreams, new hopes, new goals. Hopefully the stuff that I put out in 2021 will help you guys and gals out just as much, maybe even more. And we'll talk soon.